Hello and welcome, everyone. My name is Mark, a trainer here at WEX Field Service Management, and today we are getting started with schedule and dispatch. This webinar will cover a schedule page overview. We will look at calendar view options, schedule settings, the live schedule and dispatch board, updates, reschedules, and cancellations, how to handle those, and the work queue, which are draft appointments. We'll do a live Q&A at the end where you can ask your questions and get those answered live on stream. And without further ado, let's dive into WEX FSM. All right. So when you first log in to WEX FSM, it will bring you to the schedule page. That is kind of like the home page of your system that it will always bring you to start. If this is your first time looking at this, it may be a little overwhelming. There's a lot of buttons, and my goal for today is to just go over each button, what it means, so you have a full knowledge of what you're seeing here and how to use it on this page. At first glance here, we have two main sections that you see. On the right-hand side, you have your schedule and dispatch board. This is your live appointments. These may be customer appointments or internal events that are happening. And you are able to see these here. Each of these blocks represent a appointment. And you are able to also create draft appointments that are not completely ready yet to go and be scheduled. And that is saved in the work queue on the left side. So you have kind of two main places here on the schedule page, your live dispatch board, and then your work queue. Now, on this page, we have a lot of customizations. Everything that you're looking at here, you may prefer it to look one way over another. We're just going to start on the left and just walk through each of the buttons here and talk about what they are. So the very first button, this is the calendar. This will allow you to see the page as is. This is kind of a good starting point as well. Now, if you have a lot of appointments, let's say you're running tons of appointments in a day, it may get overwhelming to see everything in a calendar view, or maybe you just want to see things in a little more condensed view. And you can do this by clicking on List. The list view will show you the date you have selected, and then all of your appointments with your technicians, the event and job type, the customers, appointment statuses, whether the appointments have been confirmed or not by the customer, and any tags you may have added. This is the exact same thing as the calendar view in terms of data and information. It's just a different way to view everything in a condensed format. Map is going to show you a map of your area. Right now, I am in Charlotte, North Carolina. This will show your area based on the zip code that you have set for your business address in the business details admin page. But this will show you a calendar view. This is being pulled from Google Maps. And then you can even see little uh, icons here for each of the appointments that are scheduled. So you just get a nice overview of the areas you're servicing and the appointments that you're doing. And if you click on one of these, you will be able to see who the customer is, their address, what job it's relating to, and just some details about that appointment. Vehicle tracking, this is actually for Azuga. If you have the subscription, the add-on subscription for Azuga, which is a vehicle tracking and fleet management edition. Uh, and so if you click on this, if you have Azuga, it will take you over to the Azuga platform. But if you do not have this, this will bring you to the subscriptions page where you can go to additional products and learn more about Azuga. Azuga is great if you have a lot of money invested in your vehicles and your fleet. You can get dash cams. It's great for driver safety. You can track driver habits, make sure everyone is taking the correct routes. And it also allows you to plug in a device which will tell you readings on your vehicles. And you can even set reminders for things like oil changes and services. And then we have a legend. So the legend here is really just exactly as it says, a legend of terms. This will show you what each of these buttons mean, and it does have some text and explanations, so you can kind of know what each button does and what you're seeing on the schedule page. Scheduled versus actual time. So on the schedule, when you're looking at the schedule in the scheduled format, this is what you scheduled. This is the actual time that this is the scheduled time. When you create the appointment, that's what it was intended to be. And then when your technician goes out and they clock time on the job, each job does have a job time clock. Let's say I'm a technician and I go and I show up a little early and I leave a little late or whatever it is. When you click actual time, it will shift the events to show what the technician actually did. So scheduled is the intended time. Actual time will show you like when they actually went and did the job and track that on the job. Horizontal versus vertical. This is a personal preference. So right now we're on horizontal where I can see my users back to back. If I switch it to vertical, this is a little more traditional calendar where the time is going down the page. Just personal preference, it's all the same data and information. The biggest difference would be that in the horizontal view, you can grab this little hamburger icon here and move your technicians around to put them in a different order if that's something that you want to do. 30 and 60, this is going to be the intervals of time that you are able to schedule here on the page. So if you have this set in 30-minute intervals, we can see that I have little blocks here in 30-minute time slots. And if I switch that to 60, all that does is it just makes each time block 1 hour. Now you can get more detailed when you're actually in scheduling, which we'll look at in just a little bit. But we have a way to quickly create an appointment by clicking on the block itself. And so if this is set to 30, I can very quickly just click on the 30-minute mark here, and it will auto-populate the date, the time, and the technician when we actually get into scheduling. You will always see the date that you're viewing here, and you have a date selector. So right now we're on today's date, January 7th. If I want to see what is happening, let's say next week, then I can click on this little calendar here and it will allow me to select a date. And, maybe I want to see what we did last week. Whatever that is, you are able to use the date selector to bounce around the calendar. Let's say that we go to a different date and we want to just quickly zoom back to today's date. You just click the Today button. And then you can also use the arrows to go forward and backwards in time by a single day at a time. And then we also have a daily view, which is what you're seeing now, to see 1 day at a time. We have a weekly view, which will allow you to see the entire week at a glance. And then we have a monthly view where you can see the entire month. You also have dispatch groups. Now we will go over setting up your dispatch groups in just a little bit, but the dispatch groups are going to allow you to set up different groups for your team. So let's say you have a smaller team, maybe you have 1 or 2 technicians, maybe you only need 1 group because you'll just be looking at fewer people. But if you have a large team or maybe even different departments of the company, you may want to separate those so you can see different schedules of different team members through these groups. So you can see I just have some examples here. I have an all users group, which is everybody in the whole company. And then I have one for just my field technicians, who are the users that are going out and actually running the jobs. And then I have one for the office crew. So I can kind of see maybe someone is out on sick leave or even setting up sales meetings or things like that. Lunch times, you can put those in the calendar as well. You also have an option to go full screen. So right now you'll notice there's some blank space on the side here. If I click this button, this will expand this out so you get a little more real estate for your calendar. Some people prefer it this way, others do not. So that's up to you. And if you click on the actual user, and let's go back to our field technicians here. So we have our users, and I can see my field technician, Dustin, here. If I click on his name, I'm able to see him as a user, the appointments that he has for the day, the planned route that is going to be, the most efficient as it relates to GPS, getting out to the job. And then actually, if Dustin goes and has location services turned on, he'll be able to drive out, and wherever he drives, it will track that and it will show you the actual route. You'll see that as a red dotted line. And then you will also see coverage zones. Coverage zones are a way to map out different zones, and then you can assign your users to a zone. And that's just really great for schedule efficiency. If you're servicing a really large area, it can be very easy to assign a user to somewhere that's very far away, but it may make more sense for a user who's closer to go and run that job. And coverage zones just help you keep track of those zones. It will let you know if you set a coverage zone. So Dustin here, I have him set in this zone. If I were to try to schedule him outside of his zone, it will give me a notification to let me know this is outside of this user's coverage zone. So just great for schedule efficiency. Then we have the work queue. So the work queue is drafted appointments. And if I click hide, I can hide the work queue. So just a pro tip here, if you want to see your schedule here in the widest format, you can hide the work queue and expand this and even set this to vertical. And now you can just see this a lot bigger here. So those are some view options for you. All right. So that is just a nice overview of the schedule page. And we're going to open our work queue back up here. And next, let's talk about what to do just to make sure that your setup, your like admin settings, your back office settings are set up correctly to start scheduling. One of the first things is you have to make sure you are adding your users. So right now, if you are brand new and you've just signed up and you don't have your other team members, let's say your field technicians have not been added yet, then you won't be able to schedule them to run jobs. So to do this, you will go to Settings, User Management, Users. And on the user page, this is where you will set up your users. You'll click Add User, enter in all of the information, and hit Save. Once you have a user added, you do need to add them to a dispatch group. If a user is not added to a dispatch group, they will not show up on the schedule page and you won't be able to see them here. So you will also want to make sure that you have your dispatch group set up. To do this, you will go to Settings, User Management, Dispatch Groups. And like we mentioned earlier, dispatch groups are a great way to group your users. And you will simply click Add Dispatch Group. Enter in the name. I have all users. I have one for field technicians. It's personal preference. Select the users you want to add to that group and then click Save. I would recommend making all of your dispatch groups up front. Think about your team and what you need. And then when you're adding your users, you can actually, and I'll show you an example here. I am on the user page. So I just went back to the user page we were just on earlier. I'm going to click on Dustin Bailey. And when you're adding your users, as long as you have your dispatch groups set up, you can actually assign them to a dispatch group from here when you are creating the user. And then when you hit save and you go back to the schedule page, you'll be able to see them in the groups that you've added them to here. Now, the final setting that I recommend just for, simplicity is job types. If I go to settings, jobs, job types. The job types page is where you will set up the different types of jobs that you do. Every single time you create an appointment, you will need to put a job type, and it's just asking what type of job this is. If you're working in the HVAC industry, maybe you're doing a lot of no AC, no heat calls, maintenance runs, repairs, things like that. And you can actually come in here and click new job type. Think of what kinds of jobs you do, and you will enter that into here. You can also update the color. And so I do get questions about this. I'm going back to the schedule page real quick here. We can see this one's red, this one's yellow, this one's purple. The colors that you see here represent the type of job it is. So let's say red is service and then purple is maintenance. If I see a lot of purple on the board, I know there's a lot of maintenance calls going on today. So that's just a visual indicator of what types of jobs are happening. And from the job types page, which just as a reminder, that is going to settings, jobs, job types, you're able to set the color. You can set a default duration. So when I go to schedule, let's say that it is for an install. I know that my installs are going to take at least 2 hours. I can set that as a default. So that's one less click I have to do when I am scheduling the appointment. So I would come in here. Also, job types are great for reporting. So as you're creating your appointments, you will say, this one's a maintenance, this one's an install, this one's a service. And then you can look at your reports and filter by job type. And you can even say things like, how much money did we make from our installs last month? The job types are going to help your filters to get the answers that you need. All right, so those are some considerations for setting up your admin settings as it relates to scheduling your appointments. Next, we are going to look at the live schedule. And we're just going to create an appointment together and just run through how to create an appointment. Now that I'm on the schedule page, there are two main ways on this page that you can create an appointment. First, to create a new appointment from scratch, you will click new, and that will open the appointment modal. And that's how you can just get started very quickly making an appointment. Or if you know the date, the time, and the technician, let's say that I want to schedule an appointment at 12 p.m. for myself, I will click on the 12 p.m. time slot. that starts the schedule modal. And then when I actually get into scheduling, it will already have the date, time, and technician pre-populated. So that can just save you a little time when you are scheduling. For today's example, let's just click new to start an appointment. You have customer appointment and you will search for a customer. So if the customer is already part of your customer list, you'll be able to search for them here. They will show up and I'll just be able to select them. Let's say you're on the phone with the customer and if you're saying, oh, hey, we would love for you to be our customer. They agree. And now you are going to add them as a new customer to your list because they are not already in there. You'll click the red plus button and add them as a customer. Once you add them, they will become part of your customer list. And then the next time you go to schedule with them, you'll type their name and you'll see them show up here. We already have Justin as a customer, so we're going to select him. And now we are creating an appointment. What you'll notice here at the top, we have the customer information. You will see the customer name along with a star if they are a maintenance plan customer. So if you have maintenance plans, if they are signed up as a maintenance plan customer, you'll see a star here. Also, you can see the customer balance. This is great to know whether or not they owe you money. Maybe they didn't pay for their last service, and you want to bring that up while you are scheduling a new appointment. So, quick access here to just see if they owe anything, if they have a balance on their account. If you need to edit customer information, normally you would do that from the customer profile page, but you can actually access that information and edit it right from here. So if I need to edit customer info, I could just click the little edit icon here, update their information, hit save, and then go back to the appointment, making it very easy to do what you need to do all in one place. Next is the job location. This is going to have the different addresses that your customer has. You will click the drop down. If they have any sub-locations, you'll see those here. You can even search if there's a long list. You can search for the location that you need. And welcome, Brandy. I see you have joined. Just letting you know, Brandy, we are recording today's session, so you will be able to watch a replay of this if you want to catch up on what you may have missed. But I just want to tell you welcome. I'll show you where you can find those replays at the end. Next, this is a very important part of organizing your jobs. So whenever you create an appointment, it's going to create a job if you have new jobs selected. It'll create a job folder and it'll put this appointment in that job folder. But if this is a callback, let's say this is a second visit that relates to a previous job, you will want to click the drop down and select the previous job folder that this callback relates to. So this is how you're going to organize your jobs as you are scheduling. New job will create a new job folder, and then the other jobs you have done previous, you'll see those job folders in the drop-down list here. Job name, it says optional, but I highly recommend that you put this. This is just a nickname for the job that will help you recognize what this job is about. So maybe this is a no AC call. Job type, we talked about that earlier. So as long as you have your job types set up, you will be able to see those in the drop down here. Let's say that a no AC call is a service. And now when I go and look for all my service calls last month, this will show up because I've tagged it as a service job type. Next is actually scheduling the appointment. So if you have schedule now selected, you will select the date, the time, and the technician. This is the part that you can pre-populate if you just click on the dispatch board where you want. And this looks good. Let's say we'll do it from 11 to 12. We have the technician selected here. And we can also add additional text. Let's say we need a helper to come out with me you can add those here. You can also, if you add them and you realize you need to get rid of them, you can just click the little X and that will then delete the additional technician. Appointment tags are great for an additional layer of reporting. So if I click on appointment tags, I have another way that I can tag this job. So right now we are tagging it with the job type. So this is a service, but maybe in addition to that, I would like to filter that in my reports by no AC. So I can look at all my no AC jobs, but I can also see all my service jobs. Another good use case for appointment tags is if you need to do a reminder, like something that you are typing in all the time and you're kind of tired of typing it every single time, you can just add it as a tag. And then that tag can just be applied very quickly at the click of a button, like, for example, bring the 12-foot ladder. When your technician looks at the appointment on the mobile app, they'll be able to see bring the big ladder. And it's good for reminders. Just a pro tip on using appointment tags there. You also have a space here. This is an internal text box. This is going to be a message that is for whoever is going to run this job. This is great for gate codes. Maybe there's something about the customer that they need to know, filter sizes, whatever it is that is going to help the technician run the job, you will put that information here. And this is not customer facing, so they will not see what you put here. This is just an internal message for your team. Any note that you add here will also be saved as a job note, and you'll be able to reference these notes whenever you need to from the calls and notes tab here. Then underneath, last thing that you'll need to choose is the appointment notifications. So scheduled means that when I hit schedule, it's going to send an appointment confirmation to the customer, letting them know that their appointment has been scheduled. You can set reminders if this is something, let's say we are going to go out a month from now, you may want to set a little reminder to remind your customer to be on location when you get there. And then en route, if we have this turned on, this is going to allow my technician to send an on my way message when they're on the way to the job. Then select who you want to send this to. Right now we have our main customer selected, but I can also add recipient, click the drop down, and any customer information I have added in the contact page on the customer profile will show up here. And just a pro tip, if you do want to send to both text and email, select the same customer twice and then change one of them to email. So you have both. All right. So we have all of our information that we need to schedule. And now we will click schedule. And now your appointment is scheduled. We see this appointment here with Justin Hernandez is officially on the dispatch board. If you hover over the appointment, you will see a summary of the appointment. And from here, you can quickly access the customer page, call the customer, and here's the job that was created. So when we made the appointment, it created a job. And you can click on this to go into the job and see things like calls and notes, attachments, proposals, invoices, payments, anything relating to this job, you will see in the job page. Now, from here, this is where, it may be a little different based on how you run your business, but generally, you in the office, you would be creating the appointments, and then your field technicians would be out in the field running the jobs using the mobile app. So that is the example we're going to do for today. We've created our appointment and we have different visual indicators. So you know in the office what's going on out in the field and what is the progress of each of these appointments. That visual indicator you will see here. when an appointment is created, there is just a box. When your technician is, let's say they're in the truck, they're getting ready to go, they're going to hit on my way. And when they do that, you will see a moving dotted line. And that just represents that this technician is on the way to this job. Then when they get there, they will tap at job. That means that they're at the job doing the work. And that is visually represented here with just a outline, a dotted outline here. And then the technician, they finish the job. They are complete. They will mark that appointment as complete. It will then turn gray. And so throughout the day, you should see these statuses. You'll know I can see Caleb is on the way to the job, Bruce is at the job, and Mark has completed that appointment. And from there, you maybe the technician is creating the invoice in the field and taking payment. Maybe in the office, you are going into the job and creating your invoice and taking payment. But in terms of the appointment, that is the basic overview of creating an appointment and appointment statuses. Now, let's say something changes. If you need to update the appointment in any way, you will simply click on the appointment. That will open the appointment modal back up, and now you can make any changes that you need. If you make a change here, you can send an appointment update to your customer. Let's say that they call and they needed to change the time. You reset the time and hit save. It'll send that confirmation out to them that that adjustment has been made. If you want to cancel or unschedule, down in the bottom left, we have cancel unschedule. Click on that. And we have three options here. So unschedule, and real quick, Keisha asks, what happens if the job is incomplete when the tech leaves? So Keisha, are you saying the job is incomplete, like he realizes, oh, I don't have the part I need. Now I need to order the part and go back? Or are
Correct.
you, oh, cool, cool. We are going to go over that in just a second. Actually, that is the next part. So I'll go over that in just a second. Cool. So from here, we have three different options. There's unschedule, cancel, and delete. Unschedule means that this is something that we need to take off the live dispatch board and put in the work queue as a drafted appointment. Cancel will cancel that completely, but it will still have a historical record that this was created at one time. And then delete will permanently delete it as if it never happened. So any of these options, unschedule or cancel that you make, you can send an appointment cancellation confirmation to the customer. All right. And so if you need to, and actually, I mean, that's a great question, which is, what happens if the technician is out on the job and they realize they cannot finish the job, they need to come back? What I would recommend is that they will still mark the appointment as complete because they went out and are now leaving. But when you complete an appointment, the job will still be open until you actually complete the job, make an invoice, take payment, and the job is complete. So as an example here, we can see this job for Emily Davis is marked as, or sorry, this appointment is marked as complete. I'm going to go into the job here. And let's say I went out as the technician. It was from 9 to 11. I got there. I'm just clicking on actual time. I'm going to add a time clock entry here. So I will just click. I got there at 9 a.m., but by 9:30, I realized I don't have the part I need. And so I still tracked my time that I was here and I marked the appointment as complete. But then I would recommend creating a flag. And the flag for follow-up feature is perfect for this scenario. For whatever reason, the job couldn't be completed. And if you notice here, the appointment is complete, but the job is still open. And so we will need to do a callback. We'll need to go back after we order a part. And to make sure we're streamlining that process, you will click flag for follow-up. You can do this from the office or from the field. And for our example, let's say we need to order a part, so we'll do follow-up type part order. You can assign these if you need to. Let's say you have someone who does all of your part ordering. You can assign the user and they'll be able to see that on the job list. And then you put in what you need. So need to order part to finish the job and hit save. That will then flag this job. That means there is some type of follow-up that's required. Let's say that you order the part, it comes in, and now you're ready to send them back out. You can actually do this right from the job page. So let's say the part comes in, you see that it's a part for Emily Davis, job 13416. You can just go to this job, and then right here, you can hit new and create that callback appointment. The nice thing about this is it already pre-selects this job folder, so you know it's being saved in the right place. So we have the part we need. We're gonna schedule our second appointment. We'll send Mark back out there. You can add notes here, part received, whatever that is, and hit schedule. And so now we have our second visit. I'll go out, I'll install the part, same thing. I'll set this as complete. And then I can mark this follow-up as complete as well. And again, this can be done from the mobile app. Maybe you even want to add something like part installed. Life is good. And you can mark the flag as complete and hit save. Keisha, let me know, did that answer your question?
Yes, it did. Thank you.
Perfect. All right. And the very last thing that we are going to go over is the work queue. So let's go back to the schedule page. Sorry, I'm typing a note for myself. There we go. So we're back on the schedule page. Everything we've gone over so far has been our live appointment board here. But maybe there is a scenario where you know you need to send someone out, but you are not sure. Uh, And we have the work queue. So the work queue is great for drafted appointments. They're not completely fully ready to be on the schedule page yet. And there are two types of work queue items. We have service requests. That means you're not sure the date, the time, or the technician, but you do know this is something you need to do in the future, and you just want a reminder to sit here until it is ready to be scheduled. Unassigned appointment is going to be, I know the date and the time. I'm just not sure which one of my technicians are going to go do the job yet. So let's see a scenario of creating both of these. First, let's do a service request. For a service request, you will click new. You can search for the customer. And when you're scheduling, you're going to select service requests instead of schedule now. And what you need to know is how long do you think this will take? And then you can add tags if you want. You can add notes if you want. You can set your appointment notification settings here. But really, all that we need for this to happen is the duration and the minimum technician skill level. And then you will click save. And actually, for this, let's just say this is a general service call. So we have service request selected and hit save. That will save in the work queue as a service request. And when you're ready to schedule, you can actually just click and drag it over and let go. And now it's scheduled. So very easy to schedule drafted appointments, but just dragging and dropping. And then an unassigned appointment to create that, you will click new. Let's go to another customer. That works. And so for unassigned, I know the date, I know the time, but I'm not sure the technician just yet. So I will select assign later and hit schedule. And again, you can fill out all the other information that you need, but this will be saved as an unassigned appointment. And same thing, I can just click and drag over, let go, and now I'm into scheduling the appointment. All right, so that is all the information that we have for today's presentation. We are going to switch over to our Q&A now, but I just want to say thank you so much for joining. My name is Mark with WEX Field Service Management, and this has been Getting Started with Schedule and Dispatch.